Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, Solana ecosystem? My name is Bison. If we haven't met yet, always nice to meet you. Welcome into another episode of RareFUD Radio. As always, I am joined by my co-host. Let's go with Dorian first. Dorian, how you doing?
Yo, guys, how's it going today? I'm doing great, man. Ready for another exciting episode?
As always. And then our other co-host, Joe Soul. You know him as In Dust We Trust. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great today, guys. Glad to be here.
All right. So we are going to have probably a shorter episode today. We'll see if we can squeeze an hour out of it, but I'm not going to push it if we don't need to. There has not been a ton going on in the market. Of course, we're going to talk about Utes. You can't go an episode these days without talking about Utes. We'll talk a little bit about market volume. We'll talk a little bit about some other happenings in the space. We do have a very fun episode, but it is going to be on the shorter side because, well, Solana NFTs and the NFT market in general just kind of stagnant right now. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about volume first, because right now we are sitting at 36,000 SOL in the 24-hour volume. We're at historic lows here, really. Since I've been on Magic Eden, I have not seen it this low. On top of the fact that, SOL is still in that 40 range, just very stagnant right now. Do you guys have anything you're looking at right now? What are you doing right now in the market? We'll go with Joe first. Did Joe freeze? Oh, Joe's got bad connection. I see a red bar. Uh-oh.
I can hop in and
yeah. Let's go with Dorian first then.
Yeah. Hopefully Joe makes it back soon, so I'll ramble until he does. But for me right now, man, it's like I've accumulated a lot of the projects I really wanted to when the market first dropped. So right now, and honestly, I'm just trying to hold spot SOL and to see if there's any good trading opportunities coming along. I guess to nobody's surprise, the next huge trading opportunities everybody's looking at is Utes. I think a lot of liquidity is waiting on the sideline to jump into Utes to trade on secondary if they're not able to get a Ute list or a white list or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, man, with volume being this low, I just think it's a hot ball of liquidity just waiting to ape in to whatever that hot project is. And as soon as that hot project comes, people are going to take profits and wait on the sideline again. I don't think we'll see a sustained increase in volume until we see a change in the macroeconomic conditions. It's the outlook is still bleak, especially from what I've been seeing. There's a pending housing crisis coming up. So it's just like all these macroeconomic conditions just aren't conducive to be investing in one of the most riskiest assets out there.
Right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring Joe back up.
What's so going sorry,
on, Joe? Wi-Fi.
I'll tell you what, I switched over to Xfinity, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride for the past 2 weeks. So anyway, I missed the first question.
So we're just trying to talk about what you're doing in the market right now, given the market conditions, given kind of low liquidity in the market. There's not a whole lot of turnover with the volume, and SOL's kind of just trading sideways. It's not really doing anything crazy or anything like that.
No, it's not. And you know what? For a time like this is actually pretty fun for a guy like me because of capital management here. I have a lot of liquidity on the sidelines, and I'm slowly picking my pieces almost like a chessboard, especially NFT wise. I'm very risk off NFTs, but the NFTs I am indulging in are ones that I see are very strong founders that don't care about floor price. They don't care about emotions. They may be a little bit older, and have some experience. Those are the projects I'm looking to stack right now. And in Solana terms, I'm really just hanging out and DCAing at this point, a little bit every day, a little bit every other day. And I'm really looking for just scalp plays, nothing long term yet. And I'm just hanging out, slowly accumulating, guys.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I would say I'm in the same boat where, I've pretty much picked all the projects I want to up at their floors, and most of them are trending sideways. And I think we're going to see that. Now, I've always talked about capital lockup. I'm not as liquid as I want to be, mainly because I've been so indulgent in the one-on-one space as of late. But, I'm still having fun with it. And a lot of the plays actually have turned out pretty good. If I wanted to, I'm sure I could sell some stuff off at a profit, which is nice. But honestly, it's one of those things that I think once we do start seeing liquidity come into the market, one-on-one art just seems like a right space for the picking to me. So I'm placing my chips in right now. I wish I was a little more liquid. I'm not. That's okay. But I think right now we've pretty much seen everything bottom out. When you see volume this low, to me,
Yes.
I would like to have a little more liquidity on hands just in case we do see those paper hands that like are seriously undercutting right now, and we do see that every now and then. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty much staying on the sidelines. I see a few projects that we'll talk about today. Joe, I know you brought up a couple. We'll get to those at the end of the show. But of course, it would not be a show these days in Solana NFTs without talking about Utes. So we'll get into it. We did have the art reveal last week. And honestly, I'm pretty pumped about it. I personally like it. I think it actually does for what they're trying to do with it. We can go over to the Ute Scholarship. If you guys haven't seen the art, you must be living under a rock because that's all everybody's tweeting about over the past few days. But this is really clean art to me. I know a lot of people have had their gripes with, it's another kind of ape-looking animal thing. So they're like, another ape. I thought we could do better than this. I actually love it, mainly because of the white paper that came out and everything that came with it. I was more excited for the white paper than the art, but I like the art. I think it's clean. I think there's, they obviously paid very attention to the detail, but not too much detail. Like I've seen lately, Dead Gods get some unnecessary criticism, but I kind of get it where it's like you see a PFP of a dead god, but you don't get to see all the detail of it until you like zoom in, right? So they're like, okay, we see enough detail at a glance on a PFP. Looks really good. Looks really clean. There's enough traits there that I think it's fun. And it's going to be a big collection. It's going to be about what, 13 to 15K. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's like 15K, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited. I mean, you can see all the branding they got up here too. Just all the fun stuff that you can do. I'm excited to open up the creator economy, but want to get your guys' takes on the art first. So we'll go with Dorian first and then Joe.
All right. Well, I'm not any type of art curator, so I'm not going to provide the most technical approach to like, man, this art looks good, but this could be improved. Honestly, it looks good to me. I'm not too much of a stickler onto art. I care more about the team behind it and like what the utility is. So like the art's fine with me. That's like low on my list of priorities. I mean, it's being launched by Frank, secondary project to D-Gods. So I'm not complaining. I'm going in.
Right. Absolutely. Joe, what about you? I would imagine there's I'm kind of in the same boat as Dorian where like I like the art. I think PFPs are cool. I think eventually the PFP meta will burn out at some point. We've already kind of exhausted it. And maybe this is the one that just tops everything. And it's like, dude, after this, like how many more farm animals do we have? How many more, maybe we go more towards the humanoid version, which I think Manny brought up in a Hella Moon space. But what's your take on the art?
Yeah, so my take on the art, first take is it's awesome. I love the idea of being able to, capture. I mean, they tried to go with a non-gender. It's a little male based in most of the traits, but what we have to remember is this is like 75% done, guys. They are willing to re-scrap and remake and do a lot of things here. So when I say like September, October, probably for Utes mints is more reliable time frame. I love the art already. I love the fact that it's open to creating your own traits as long as they stay within the box of the trait that you're changing, right? You're able to brand it. I mean, the art itself is pretty cool, but what they're allowing you to do with the art, I think, is even cooler and makes this project something that's going to stand out.
Yeah.
There you go. The white paper, beautiful, Bison.
Yeah.
What a transition.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the white paper because this, I think, one, I wanted to. I saw the white paper. I saw a lot of criticism that is like, oh, it's a Google Doc. And I'm like, bro, they're still working on this. Like, I don't really care how it's presented. The fact is, most of you guys don't even read the white paper. You go, art looks good, and you buy in anyways. Like, I don't know why all of a sudden we're getting nitpicky about like he's laid out. The whole team has laid out like their concepts and what they want to do or try to do with Utes. And I'm very curious. So, Joe, I want you to go first on your take on the white paper or the Ute paper. We'll go with Dorian next, and then I'll kind of cap it off after that.
Beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, I think we want to start off with the whole just NFT intellectual property, right? Are you owning your NFT at the end of the day truly, especially after Moonbirds and, everything that went down with Yuga Labs? And if you read a lot of white papers alone, I mean, you're only you really only own your NFT up to a certain dollar amount, especially if you're making monetary gains off of that. So this alone is changing the paradigm by allowing the artists and the curators who are creating these traits or sub DAOs to be paid how they should be, right? A lot of these sub DAOs, a lot of these traits that are picked and bought and are above floor now are built because of the community, right? Not the actual founders. It's a community that are building cooler things around traits. So in my head, I see this as probably one of the biggest innovative paradigm shifts within the NFT community when it comes to being able to customize your own NFT into a trait or a brand, right? And an IP, and then monetize off of that. Which is even cooler, it's incentivizing holding, right? Through UT tokens, right? You can accumulate 6 UT tokens that are able to be created into new traits, or you can buy with Dust token up to 2 UT tokens, right? So you can get 2 UT tokens right off the bat by buying with Dust. So they're incentivizing buying their utility token, another route for Dust, and another route for artists to get paid. I mean, I love it. I really don't have much things to say right now. I'm biased as well, guys, obviously, but I love the team.
Of course. Dorian, what do you got?
Yeah, one of the aspects I'm most excited about this is the trait customization. Taiyo has done this before, and it's super fun to be able to like take these traits and be like, oh man, like really customize this to make your own unique Taiyo that you resonate with. And being able to see this in Utes, I'm super excited to see what's going to happen and what different communities are going to form when you have artists being able to create a certain trait and then sub DAOs being able to not only support this artist, but be created from this one trait that this artist created. So it'll be like promotion of one-on-one artists while stronger communities within the entire collection to further push the brand. So I'm really excited about that aspect of it. And I don't recall a lot of projects being able to successfully like customize their traits on NFTs beyond Taiyo, man. It's like, it might seem something small, but when you actually interact with something like this, and it was my first exposure to it when I picked up my Taiyo, was just, it's super cool. I enjoy it, just being able to mix and match what you want to do. And it's like, I would be super excited to be able to do this with Utes. I do think that this white paper doesn't encapsulate everything that Frank has planned. I think this is just the initial stage for it, but there's no way that this is it for the Youth roadmap.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah, no, so here's my take on it. I love it. I've been a big advocate of the fact that there's collections, right? So it's collector's items. This is why I'm big on the one-on-one space, because I think ultimately people like having, it's like pulling a Charizard, right? Like when you pull a Charizard out of a pack, it's like, holy shit, I did that, right? It's whatever card game or looting something in World of Warcraft, it's that dopamine hit that you get when you mint something and you're like, holy shit, this looks rare, right? So I'm excited for the fact that we can customize them. I also don't want to lose that fact, right? So it's like, hey, I don't want to lose the fact that like you minted something, it's super cool, but you can customize it down the road and maybe something cooler comes out. I'm kind of at a crossroads because I see 15K almost doesn't seem like it's enough for me. And here's my thought process on it, right? Like, I love the idea that we're opening up the creator platform and that there's going to be a marketplace, and like you can join these sub DAOs and they could even mint out just like 100 of these traits, right? Where only 100 people can have, like a flaming hat or something like that. I don't know, whatever that looks like. But it's like, how much exposure does that? I still think we're not encapsulating, like bringing more people into the Utes universe, right? So I think this is a really cool concept. I'm curious to see how it executes on a 15K collection. I still think it'll do really well. I still think the ecosystem is small enough that it can only support a 15K collection while maintaining this kind of hype. So I think they did it right, but I'm curious to see where this leads in the future. I do love the idea of creating sub DAOs. I love creating a creator economy within a collection. I think it's super cool. And I love that artists are going to be able to use this. I've already seen some dope alternatives, right? Like some fan art. So I'm very curious to see all the traits that come out. I'm very curious too. I like that you have to earn the traits. I think that's another big one, that it's like you only get one UT token or Y token, whatever they want to call it, where you actually get to use that credit on the UT store and get those custom versions of traits. I'm very curious to see how it all plays out. I think this is the kind of like, yes, we're moving in the right direction of where I would like us to move. I think opening up a creator economy is something I've always envisioned for a project, whether it's in games or anything like that. I have seen it on some smaller collections outside of Taiyo, where like Bitmon. I don't know if anybody remembers Bitmon, but yeah, they did have like the custom trainers that you could
Bitmon
customize.
whale right here.
Yeah. I think I still have some like stake. I think I have like 3 or something like that stake. But honestly, besides that, like it's kind of crappy art, where I think this is more like high fidelity art that you can create. So I am excited to see it. I love that they're trying it, right? I mean, it just goes back to the ethos of Frank and what the whole DGods team is about. It's just like, hey, we're trying shit, and we're opening up the NFT to like you guys, right? Like you guys get to do whatever you want to. And I think this is a really good way forward of actually owning not just your NFT, but like IP rights to traits on NFTs.
Yes.
So
and Bison,
really cool.
and to interject real quick before you finish off, because you made, I mean, that was amazing points.
Yeah.
And I think speaking from a personal perspective here, I'm actually going to commission one of my favorite artists in the space that I've worked with for a while to do D-Trader traits. So we'll be doing that for the sub DAO. So it's just, I mean, you don't have to be an artist, guys, to really indulge in this space with youths, right? You can find guys on Fiverr, you can find guys on Twitter that you love, and have them, you know, save up some Ute tokens and have your favorite traits made. I mean, that I can't wait for that PFP. Like, I'm really actually, like, I'm, you know, my DGods are always be my DGods, but I'm excited for my Utes, man. I really am. Just from the brandability. I'm not looking to flip. I'm really, you know, we all three of us are building great brands. And I think having something like that to really top it off with is going to be exciting. So yeah, Bison, to close it off, man, you're right with everything you said, brother.
Yeah. Can I chime in real quick too, man?
Absolutely.
Both of you hit the nail on the head, man. And for me, one thing that I can imagine, like, sorry, man. So like one thing I can imagine is that if John Lee created a trait, you get what I'm saying? It's like, how many people are going to ape into that using their Utes tokens? And like one thing you mentioned earlier, Bison, which is crazy to think about now, is that you were like, man, I don't think 15K is enough. But all three of us have been in this space long enough to remember, you talking about a 5K collection, man, that's a lot. Like, you're trying to push above 5K collection mint. It's like, whoo, and then it's like slowly started to build, but it's like that progression where we're like, oh, 15K is not enough to like satisfy the market. It shows that the market is growing. So that's also a huge positive sign.
Right. No, absolutely. And I do think, you know, 15K is bigger than what any other hyped collection we've seen, right? Outside of maybe a Freeman or anything like that. So I'm very curious. I love that we're pushing the envelope past 10K, because eventually we need to scale out the NFT ecosystem, wherever you're trying to do, to the masses. And there's 6 billion people in the world, right? Like a 15K collection is good. It adds the rarity. It adds like people are talking about it. They want to ape in. I think there is that scarcity factor that you still need in order to keep pushing the masses towards NFTs. But I also think there's another way when it comes to onboarding NFT users to where they don't even need it. But this is a right step in the collection approach to NFTs, right? Like where it's like, hey, we are targeting collectors. We are targeting people who want to open up the creator economy. I think this is an excellent experiment. I'm very excited to see what happens with Utes. Any other closing points before we move on?
Yeah, last one, man. I think one of the driving factors that's really going to help out Utes is just this whole Utes whitelist process, man. They're really trying to curate a solid community of diamond hand holders, and having people curate a community based on what they've done in the space. I think there's no better way to do that, man. So it's like, imagine what type of content is going to be produced when you have all these great people in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. I will close it out with one final point, because it was on Hello Moon Spaces yesterday, which if you guys don't know who Hello Moon is, please, hellomoon.io. They are not a sponsor or anything like that. I just fucking love them so much. They do a space every 10:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And some of the biggest brains in the Solana ecosystem go out there. But they did talk about how only 8,000 wallets actually have 375 dust right now. And it's a 15K collection, you know, do the math there. So this could add some speculation of, hey, like, should we be buying dust? Well, there's only 8K wallets that actually have enough dust, right? The reverse side of that is like, what if some of those wallets that have 375 don't get Ute listed, right? And so then they're like, well, shit, I don't want my dust because they can't see long term, right? And they're like, yeah, dust is only good for minting Utes. I might as well just like sell it on the open market. So there's kind of colliding ideas when it comes to that trade that I'm very interested in. I do have more than 375 dust. Very curious on when I want to take profits there. I still don't think it's reached its max yet, and I think they'll add on more dust utility post Utes. So we will see what happens there. But let's go ahead and move on, because there has been some other stuff that has happened in the space. I kind of want to talk about. Let's talk about Rugged Revenants, right? Because Rugged Revenants was one that I had so much hope for, and they are below mint right now. They aren't even on. If we look at the 24-hour collection right here, you don't see them. We are 48 hours post mint, and you don't see them on the popular collections, which I have not seen a mint that I thought was going to be so hyped kind of fall on its face. I asked them on the Hello Moon space why they chose Sunday, because Sunday has historically been a terrible day for engagement, for volume, for anything. Everybody's taking Sunday off. This is when you touch grass, or I hope you do, right? It's always good to take a break from the computer screen, but that's not good, right? Like, and so I think Fast was actually one who jumped in the space. He's an advisor for Rugged Revenants and said, we really didn't care. It was a chill day. We picked Sunday because we thought it was a chill day. We're VC backed. We don't really care too much. And I think that's great, right? Like, I love that, they have a longer term vision. So on that point, I'm like, yes, it is a game. Historically, games do have, like, you're not going to find the utility or the collection or collector's item part of a game right off the rip, right? They're going to have a 6-month time horizon minimum, I guarantee you. The fact is, they do already have a game. That's good. I played it. It's a fun little platformer. That first wave, the first monkeys fucking pissed me off. Sorry. What? But they kind of drive me into the sense that they are building something cool. So I'm bullish on the team. I'm bullish on the fact of what they're doing. I can't understand why you would not mint on another day. And I get it. You're VC backed. You have funds. It's not an issue, but you want exposure, right? Being on the popular collection page, no matter what the mint price is, no matter what like your volume is or anything, being on the popular page brings exposure. It's the best marketing you could possibly have right now in the ecosystem. So guys, do you have any idea of what Rugged Revenants was thinking, what they're trying to do? Do you have any validation that maybe I'm not seeing on why they decided to go with Sunday instead? Let's go with Dorian first.
Yeah. So regarding the mint on Sunday, I mean, I think that's really the team's decision. And honestly, with 25K volume, I don't think anything too crazy is going to happen. I think a lot of the mints that are successful in this area, like in that pump, have a lot of mystery and a lot of hype behind them. To my knowledge, I don't recall seeing any huge influencers hyping Rugged Revenants up. I know the team is solid, but it's like, I think a lot of the demand in this current market is driven off of hype and FOMO. And if you don't capture that, regardless of what day of the week you're going to mint, I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy and you're going to struggle. And even if you are VC back, that's cool. But it's just like, in this market too, it's like, I don't feel like game NFT projects do that well. Like, we saw Shin Goku mint out, which is great. And I'm bullish on that project long term, but it wasn't some insane pump. They minted out and then fell below mint not too far after. And I think that's just a common thing with gaming type based NFTs. Is like a lot of people are looking for that pump, and when they don't expect to get that from any gaming NFT, so people usually don't pick them up.
Absolutely. Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, it's a hard market in general right now to mint, and just in general, right? Utes are stealing liquidity left and right. Profits are being taken, put into Phantom, and they're sitting there. And they're waiting, right? Because they want to make plays off the secondary, which is okay. But it is a shame for some of these projects that are coming out with games that are already produced, they're ready to go, which is very rare in the space, right? And then you have VC back, so they have funds, they don't need community to even buy, they don't need royalties. However, you see these just time after time fail. And I think it's an investor's paradigm of this market. We're not looking at some of these projects like early seed investing rounds, right? Or like Silicon Valley startups. Like, that's how some of these projects should be looked at as an investor's paradigm when you're buying them, but they're not. We're so immature. We buy, we hold, we want to flip. And a lot of these kids are buying 2 days in, they're down 0.5 SOL and they're selling. So there's really no long-term investors paradigm in the market at this moment. And for those who do have that are moving smart money into blue chips. So the projects in between are just hurting right now. And it's a shame. And like Bison said, I think, even if you're VC backed, you should know the market sentiment and maybe pull back a little bit and just hold, right? Just hold. We'll get there. And you have everything set up. You're not losing anything. So Bison, that's a great point, man. Sometimes I think it's just you should know when to fold them and when to hold them.
Yeah. It stinks too, because as somebody who likes Tony, and if you guys don't know who Tony is, he's the guy who he's been in the game development space before. And so I'm just so waiting for a game to take the market by storm. I do think we have plenty of promising options. Shinsen Goku actually just released their event where they were testing out some really cool features that I really enjoyed. I know what's going on behind the scenes with Revenants. They do have a camp mint coming here soon for a journal. I can't tell you what that journal is going to do, but you're going to want to mint it. We do have Catch King. We have Rugged Revenants, which I played the game. It's fun. It's a fun platformer. I'm excited to see what they do with it. But until then, like I don't see anything moving the market forward as far as the game goes right now. I think we're going to have to be patient with this space. And I do want the best for Rug Revenants. I love the team. I love the fact that they were always participating in the market. I think that's something you should do. I just think they got that one detail wrong, and that's going to cost them, right? It's going to cost them a lot of exposure that they should have. So yeah, I think that's my take on Rug Revenants. Still bullish on them long term, but if games see this, right, like gaming studios see what's happening with the gaming sector and Solana NFTs, which really we are the best platform for games. I mean, it's not even close. I would say Matic is another one that has actually come up with a gaming studio. They've gotten some really good talent and stuff like that. But outside of that, Solana is primed to be the gaming platform. So I want to see more headway in the gaming sector. And I just think a lot of people are still stuck on the PFP meta, still stuck on something that's simple and easy to grasp. And I think we're going to have to bring the Web 2 gamers over, and that's going to be a very hard thing to do, right? You're not going to beat the experience you get on Apex Legends or Fortnite or any of these other AAA titles that are coming out right now. So I don't know. I want to see it succeed. I really do, but we're going to have to find some barrier to entry that we need to, it's a massive one to get Web3 gaming on the board. Do you guys have any? Yeah, I was about to say, go ahead, Dorian.
Yeah,
you have any closing remarks?
Man, you're right. And like just the way it's like, I believe that Web3 gaming is a thing, but right now we're still early on in the development cycle of it. I think one of the things that's going to separate Web2 gaming from Web3 is the ability to earn some type of income for playing a game. I don't think you need to become rich and that needs to be your livelihood, but something sustainable where you can earn something on the side to this is cool. I enjoy playing this game and I earn this. I think once games are able to implement some type of sustainable token model of a game that's fun, we'll see a huge major breakthrough in Web3 gaming. I think a lot of people right now, it's like, why would I play this game in Web 2 when I can go play a better version why would I play this game in Web 3 when I can go play a better version in Web 2? But it's like, oh, this game is super cool in Web 3 and I get paid for it. Hell yeah, I'm going to play this game. So I just think that's kind of the conundrum. And I think, as you said, it's like one of the ways to introduce, like, we're going to need to get more of those Web 2 people into Web 3 gaming. And that's why I'm bullish on the Solana phone, because like a lot of the games being developed in Web 3 are being based around being able to play on a mobile device. So when you have people interacting with these things, not even realizing they're interacting with a Web3 game or a blockchain and just playing the game and like, oh man, I earned some money playing this game. That's what they're going to look at. So I think that's how adoption will increase. But it's like Web3 gaming, in my opinion, is still a bit off. And it's like, we'll get there, but it's just going to suck in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Joe, do you have any closing remarks on the Web3 gaming space before we check out some other news in the NFT space?
I think you guys covered it up pretty nicely, Dorian. The Solana phone aspect is a very intriguing idea if they can get their confirming transactions down to a minimum. Because right now, you got to confirm about 8 to 12 transactions to do really anything on that SAS phone. So yeah, that could be huge if they figure that out. Agreed.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I know what's going on behind the scenes with Remnants, but it's going to take time for things to really start culminating into their final form. And the fact that there is a playable game on your mobile phone, I'm always
Yeah, you
bullish on
can't beat that.
Remnants. And there was a mystery crate that we had in the loot table that just sold for 100K camp, which converts to about
Wow.
21 soul. So there are games that you can play that people do value still. I think we just need to open up the player base. I think we need to think about how we can make more emphasis on collecting the items in the game, which I think Remnants has done pretty well. That are actually, that's the value right there, right? It's not the token so much. The token is what you use to maybe buy the parts and go on the quest, and you culminate that all together to make an item that you then can use in the game, or you have the option to sell and you can make money off of it. I think that's the real concept. Moving on though. Sorry. What do you got, Torian?
Yeah, I guess this is my last time interjected on that point, but you hit the nail on the head, man. It's like, that's another thing, is just like solidifying the aspect that, hey, you own this item and you can do what you wish. I was speaking to the founder of Shinsen Goku, very intelligent dude, who me and him were just like going back and forth about how people even sell items in World of Warcraft, whether that's through the auction house or whatnot. But it's like, imagine being able to, man, I worked hard for this item, I no longer need it, and being able to sell that for real, I don't know, crypto or dollar is like, that's super powerful. And even in Fortnite skins, imagine you own a skin and you no longer want to use that skin. You can sell that to somebody else and actually get money back instead of just from that money being gone is an amazing idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, so moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about Ramo. If you guys don't know who Ramo is, he was the founder of Habibi over on ETH, as well as Degen Town. And Degen Town had quite some controversy behind it. We still don't know who did what, if Ramo's the founder or the advisor. All I know is he's a rugger, in my opinion. I have not seen anything that combats that theory that basically he rugged Degen Town. And I don't know what's going on there. But he has decided that he has teased a free mint incoming. So he's saying who wants some, and then he says, oh, by the way, 0% royalties. Guys, have you guys done any research into Ramo himself? Have you done anything into investigating what this free mint can be? Do you guys have any opinions on this? Let's go with Dorian first.
Yeah, I haven't done any research with Ramo personally. I don't know anything about Habibi, but I do know it's like, even though Degen Town was a rug, it's like the marketing and that went behind that project was top tier. So it's like Ramo understands people are trying to look for some type of play to make money. So it's like doing this is like, people don't care if he's a rugger. If anything, that's helped with his visibility, so people actually ape into it in an attempt to make some liquidity. So it's like with him, it's like I wouldn't support him. I didn't buy Degen Town, but because he's a rugger, I wouldn't take away from his understanding of him knowing how the market operates.
Absolutely. Joe, have you done any research into Ramo or anything like that?
Oh yeah, a lot of those ETH guys, man. They realized two things. One, Solana is very easy to rug on because there's not big investigators like there are on ETH, right? There's these decentralized investigators that will take time over 6 months to a year to track you down, to make your life a living hell, in lack of better terms. See, with Ramo, he realizes one thing, right? And that's legalities rise, right? He realizes if he produces a project with no real roadmap or said things, you can rug. You're legality wise, you're fine, right? There's nothing you've promised on. There's no speculation. It is nothing, right? It's Degen Town, right? Be a Degen, burn your Degen. He can get around everything. Like you said, Dorian, it's a great point. He knows how markets work, so he's able to market, get hype, but he also knows how to protect himself. So listen, I'm a Degen at heart. You got to know this. Have an entry, have an exit if you want to play around with his projects. Do not go and burn 20 Degen towns and think you're going to get equal value back. Just know who you're dealing with, right?
Yep.
And that's my 2 cents.
Yep.
No, I have that set in my notes here too. Is one, I do worry, like, what's his plan with Habibi? Shouldn't he be worrying about like helping Degen 10 out and like doing something there? I guess not, because he didn't know what you're doing. And they basically said it in the title. It's Degen Town. You don't know what you're getting, and you're basically gambling with it. I think he has found another great idea of, hey, if I just say free mint, 0% royalties, I can get away with whatever I want to. And my thought process is, What are his intentions? Well, he could be stealth minting a bunch of these on different wallets that aren't tracked. He could go in, mint a bunch out or pre-mint them. I don't know what that looks like for him. Wait for it to pump, just do a bunch of marketing for it. He obviously knows how to do that. And then just go ahead and dump them on the open market. So my advice to you guys would be, one, this can't be a rug if he's literally saying it's a free mint and 0% royalties. So that's his loophole right there. You slap zeros on both of those things, and you can't consider that a rug or anything. He's not saying it. He's not promising anything or anything like that. If you're going to play this, go ahead and mint it. If you can't mint it, don't buy it. I'm not playing this game. That's roulette right there. You might be able to make a profit on a free mint. Maybe you take advantage of some other people in the market who want to play Degen Town round 2. But that's on them, and it doesn't have to be on you. So if you're watching the stream, it means you are trying to be informed. We appreciate it. Don't do anything besides mint this. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. That would be my best
advice.
Yeah, I'm going to give you financial advice because this is a free mint. Is like it's free. That's not even financial advice. You do it for free. If you can mint it, go ahead. Don't buy it though. Do not buy it. There's going to be no utility with it, and he's going to go ahead and do his thing. Right now he's playing games, and honestly, it's 3D chess that he's playing. So I think you just watch yourself. I think there will be some sort of semantics that he can get around and still profit off this. But other than that, don't buy it on the secondary.
And you guys got to realize secondary marketplaces, right? How they make their profits, guys, is selling NFTs, right? They need NFTs that are hyped and they want them sold. So Magic Eden, I don't care who it is. Be careful of their advertising, right? I don't care if they advertise a project. It means nothing to me. If anything, that means I need to sell it quicker. So just be very wary of these things, guys, and create and watch your FOMO, watch your emotional being. Are you getting sweaty? Are you feeling stomach? Like really watch your physical emotions when you're trying to trade something, and just be wary of yourself, guys, in this market.
I just, you got to watch out for people. I think the market is maturing to some extent. I still am not of the mindset that like we've gone into uber critical mode and like that's it. I think a lot of people are just underwater. I think a lot of people ran out of liquidity. I think a lot of people are now just finally like, now they've turned the emotion where it's like, I'm going to be hypercritical on everything. We'll see if that lasts in the next bull market. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
No, but so it's like we can sit here and like once again criticize ruggers all day, but it's like it's actually the market, man. It's like the market's the one who's aping into these projects constantly and then turns around and complains that they got rugged. Guess when the last time I was rugged? Like 6 to 8 months ago, man, when I was still aping into everything. So it's important just to do basic analysis on these things and decide which projects have good founders that are unlikely to rug, and boom, you don't have to worry about that problem anymore. But if you keep supporting people like Ramo or Ukron or any other known ruggers out there, it's like, what do you expect to get, man?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know what the utility is. Maybe something cool comes out where it's like, shoot, if it's like 0.1 Sol, it might be worth the degen. That is not financial advice though, because the other one was free. So that free, go for it. If you're feeling degen, that's on you, not financial.
You're muted, dog.
That's right. So let's turn it over to Joe, because Joe talked a little bit about Liberty Square. Liberty Square was at like 0.9 or something when we called it, and now what? The last time I checked, they were at like 2.1.
Bison's over here trying to hold down the stream. Can't hear a thing.
Am I muted?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good.
Bison. Dorian, can you not hear us? No, he can't.
He might have his audio off then for sure, because both of our audio is good. I'm back checking on YouTube as well, but
yeah, okay.
But so Liberty Square wise. So yeah, my first, what appealed me first to them was they went opposite of the meta. And I see Shake, what's the catalyst on Liberty Square? Well, the catalysts that are coming are between October and December. If you read their V2 paper, everything that would be a strong fundamental catalyst is coming October through December, right? They have a few things coming. They have burning mechanisms where you can burn up to 10 to 20 of your Liberty Square to get a new collection that's coming out by a one-of-one artist. There's only going to be so many of those. They obviously have really nice merch seasons dropping for their filth token, which you can stake in. Amongst other things, they have a few different components of a gamified community coming out that hasn't been released yet. So really right now is the pre-marketing, right? They're just allowing people to come in, talk to the community, get to know the founders, because the founders are always apparent in spaces, are in the Discord 24/7, and they're allowing you to accumulate and kind of test out the waters before they come with the strong marketing plan for their V2 roadmap. So catalyst wise, I really don't think there's much of a catalyst. I think a range between like 1.7 and 3 Sol is being played right now, which is fine. And you can play that range. For me, I'm looking for entries under 1.8 to stack, right, to accumulate, because I truly believe October, November, December are going to be filled with huge catalysts for Liberty Square. This is when, you know, Seattle Hacker House, the founder, was talking about this completely, about how he was going to give time for the community to grow, and then he'll come out and go toe to toe with anybody in this space. The guy's 44, he has a lot of money, and I believe him. So basically those are my catalysts. Everybody I trust, my OGs in the space, are in it. They're different from any of the metas at the moment, and it's just a really cool community aspect, and it's really about art and allure. And the kid in me, the gamer in me, loves that. I love lore and I love art, so I'm all in. And for a low risk to reward ratio here, if you are looking to trade, under 1.8 is looking like a solid entry for me. But that's not financial advice. That's just my DJ, Joe Soul, running around. So yeah, that's my thought process, guys.
No, that makes sense. Dorian, can you hear us now?
Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what was going
on. Technical issues always. But no, Dorian, I know you picked up some Liberty Square. I should have followed the call. I even put it in my show notes for the last one, 5 under 5, and I didn't execute on it. That's okay, whatever. But Dorian, do you have any thoughts on Liberty Square? Have you done any of your fundamental analysis or anything like that?
Yeah, my fundamental analysis was consisted of aping when Joe initially talked about it, and I was able to make good profit from that. So I plan on continuing to do that going forward, and it seemed to work.
Yeah, I mean that's well said, and fair enough. I look, for me, it's always right now. It's who's still being present in this market, right? Like we are all down bad. If you're still attending spaces, if you're still getting your name out there and trying to be organic with your reach, then for me, like that just screams a project or community I at least want to check out, right? So that was always I kept seeing it all over my timeline. It's still a very cheap entry for me. But I do agree with Joe's analysis that like 1.8 or lower is probably where I would scope out for the next leg up. We'll see what happens there, but really cool stuff. Maybe we'll try to get them on an episode for an AMA or anything like that in the near future.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
I think that would be awesome.
I think they're a good team that is well respected in the community, and honestly, I want to give them more appeal if I can. So, the next one that Joe called out was Chacon Studios, and he told us, he goes, "Oh, by the way, I meant to mention this. I got a bag, and yeah, it would have been nice, Joe. But nonetheless, this is really good price action to me. It came back down to our that's a 21-day moving average and bounced right back up. That's really bullish action, and that's 101 TA right there. So, yeah, Joe, what made you want to go with Chacon Studios as far as a buy?
Yeah, of course. So I was actually I was a mentor of Chacon when they first dropped. I was very fond to the founder at the time because he was asking for VCs with any project founders he could get, and he was really trying to break his paradigm in there. He was asking, "Yo, what am I doing wrong from your perspective? Have you seen my project?" And he was doing this all the time, and rapidly coming back to the Discord, filling us in, this and that. I ended up selling mine for a profit. But like I like to do a lot of times is now look for that re-entry to a team that, like you said, Bison, is still around regardless of floor price dropping. They're still there. They're building. So regardless of the art revamp, right? Because that's not my catalyst. My catalyst is their project, their UI and their UX. They're devs. If you go to their website, what they're offering is just clean. It's crisp. You could tell they're putting work into it. They're not rushing. The art revamp is being done by a really solid one-of-one artist as well, just like Vandal City. But you couple those two with a true utility and a true fire art PFP, I think we have some room to run here. And I like the founders, and yeah, that's basically what I just went with a conviction gut play on this when I saw the capitulation.
Absolutely. No, it's one of those things that, I've been seeing. You remember that time period where we saw Trippy World, where we saw Jacon Studios, where we saw Vandals and stuff like that, that it was, I had a feeling that some of those were going to pop. Vandals obviously did. And part of me was wondering, well, did Jacon just ride the back of Vandals? Because they had the same artist. We saw the very similar artwork. I still was not a big fan of, like, I don't know what they're doing with their hands. It's like Ricky Bobby,
the baguette
right?
in the
like,
hand.
Yeah, they have like the fish in the hand on the Vandal, and then like they're throwing up butterfly knives or something like that with Jacon. It's like I don't know what like, bro, just have some sort of generative hand feature, where it's like different positions for some of these. But that's just my 2 cents. So I wasn't crazy about the art. I minted Jacon. I sold it for about 5 SOL. So I'd take it. But nonetheless, it's worth noting that some of these projects are still grinding. And so this is why we joined the space, right? Because Joe and Dorian and myself can cover more ground than just myself or Joe himself or Dorian himself. We are trying to give you a wide casting net to find any alpha we can. And this was a really good call. I think they might have some more run up. I think Vandals is showing promise of, like, to me, it's starting to feel like a D-Gods community. I know they came from, like, Soulberry is from the D-Gods community himself. He worked a lot with Frank, and it's starting to feel like it's building that utility that it might have some room there to run if we ever see a true bull market again. So might be worth scoping out. I do think Jacon Studios, I need to know a little bit more about what they're ultimately trying to accomplish. But, we are in this art rework meta where it's like, hey, if you're getting an art rework, maybe your PFP wasn't that great, especially now that you have to compete with Utes and D-Gods and, Taio's coming out. There's talk about reworks there, but you can customize your Taiyo there with scrap. And there's just a lot of cool things going on with the actual appeal of your PFP. So this is one to watch. I will definitely keep my eye on it. That is a great candle to see right after touching that 21-day EMA. So, yeah, that's what I like to see. We will go ahead and we did have a question from Yabara over there about one-of-one art. So I'm going to go ahead and go on one of my tangents on one-of-one art. And yeah, we'll just go from there. I want to bring up my profile on collector.sh. We'll see if I can bring it up real quick. Yeah, let's go over here and we'll just check out the profile. So some of the art that I've collected recently, mainly Degen Poet. So Degen Poet has released multiple editions. Right now, editions seem to be a very hot topic in the
Would
community.
you be able to mint any of those, Bison, or did you pick off a secondary?
No, I got them. Them. So these minted for 0.69, 0.89 for some of these.
Yeah,
and
man.
the floor on these right now, the last time I checked, so if we go to exchange.art and we go to Degen Poet's profile, some of these are sitting at like a 1.9 soul floor, a 2.2 soul floor. So this is a pretty easy 2x, 3x right there. I'm not sure how liquid it is, but to me, that shows really promising signs that, like, people are valuing these. I think it's such a cool take on Punks itself, with the typewriter art installed, as well as some sort of poetic nuances integrated within the art itself. I really like Degen Poet, but he's not the only one that I've seen a lot of attention go to. I did point out one artist that was under the radar that I think was being very underappreciated by the community. It was Emmanuel. So Emmanuel DeGama, you can find him on Twitter. But this one I was able to get OTC from my boy H. I actually brokered the transaction. And yeah, I've seen a lot of Emmanuel stuff start creeping up towards the 2 soul mark. So I got it for a soul. You get 2 soul. This is one of those plays where I'm like, hey, some of these additions. So H actually put me onto this Self-Sabotage by Isso. What's up? I think some of these more animated art styles, as well as this one, Scooby. This is actually one of my favorite pieces I picked up recently. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear it.
Yeah,
it's got an audio component. No, I can't. That's really cool. That's got an audio component
Oh
too.
yeah,
I didn't
dude, the
realize
beat
that.
slaps on it too. But Scooby
Ooh,
is well respected within the community, and I had no idea. I just saw the art and I was like, hey, I like this. I actually got into a bidding war with Admiral. I'm not sure if he's watching the stream or not, but I know Admiral before this, and we kept going back and forth. He goes, why do you want this piece so bad? I was like, it's the same reason I want any other piece, right? It slaps. And so I'm bullish. This is the sector of one-on-one art that I'm actually bullish on. I picked up a few pieces lately that are animated, that have really cool art style. This one is not animated, but I do have another one that I will go ahead and pull up. Let's see if I can find it. This one, Proteon, actually is coming out with a really cool one-on-one PFP. But this one, it's just like, it looks like a piece has come off the ground and formed a ship in front of these rocks. It looks pretty cool. It's nice and monochromatic. It looks really good. I want to point out Proteon real quick, because if you guys have not seen this, I wish I can play music as well with this. Let's see if I can on Restream. But this is his one-on-one PFP collection that's animated and coming out. These look sick. So if you guys are looking for some alpha on some one-on-one stuff, this reminds me of like almost Borderlands shit.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, this is really cool art.
Cool.
It's all one-on-one PFPs. And he is, for me, flying under the radar, but still picking up volume and attention within the one-on-one community. This is worth scoping out. So not financial advice. Again, with most of my one-on-one art, I have a longer time horizon on the trade itself, if I even am trying to trade it. But there are so many cool artists out here, guys. You guys can take your pick. I have so many in my collection now that it's kind of gotten ridiculous, but I enjoy it a lot. Another one that I mentioned was Sanu. I love the animation style on this. If you guys haven't seen, it's not animating within my collection. I need to talk to collector.sh are goats in the space for one-on-one art. We actually said like, hey, you guys aren't playing videos, and they fixed it almost immediately. So definitely a cool project. That's my one-on-one rant. So Yabara, if you guys are looking for it, there's my alpha for one-on-one art.
Yeah, I want to go ahead.
Go for it,
Joe. You can go ahead, man.
No, man. I got nothing to say. I just told Bison that was a beautiful layout of one-on-ones, baby.
Do you guys think there's like an emerging one-of-one meta, in the sense we're starting to see the one-of-one side get a lot of attention, and we're seeing people like John Lee start to get a lot of even more notoriety. So like, do you think that youths releasing and one-on-one artists being able to create traits will get them noticed more within the space, and that'll attract people back to their collections?
Yes.
Also, D-Gods is partnering with Exchange Art to highlight more one-of-one collections. What you just said, Vandal City and G-Con are working with one-of-one artists. So like, as these one-of-one artists start to work on these larger profile pick collections, could we see these their one-of-one work actually gain more value as more people begin to notice them in the space?
Yes. My long story short, a little TLDR, absolutely. And this was kind of the bet that I was always going on, is once I saw John Lay was being onboarded as art director for Utes, even if it was just a short time, I've seen so many D-Gods, so many D-God PFPs being active in the space, which to me, they are first movers. They have alpha beyond everybody else. When you have a D-God PFP, I'll tell you right now, it opens up doors, and I'm sure Joe can tell you that himself, that if you have a D-God, if you're a part of that community, one, they just have really good connections, and two, just having the status of having a PFP that is a D-God opens up doors. So when you start seeing D-Gods moving into a space like one-on-ones, on top of John Lay coming in as the art director for Utes, and then even then, now I'm even hyper bullish, because you do have the trait customization where I see a lot of these artists coming in, and I want to say one of my other favorites, Toku. Let's go for Saint Toku. Actually came out with a custom background for a Ute right here that I think is so cool. Is like a nice little like vibrant background. It's stuff like that I think is going to really move the needle, and it's going to put more eyes back on the collector space of one-on-one art. So yes, my short answer is absolutely. This is really bullish. I see a lot of synergy going back into the one-on-one space, and I'm hoping more liquidity and more just like people who are like, shit, I can go for generative art, which no knock on generative art. I think it's really cool. I think it does build a good community and you can vibe around a PFP. But the true art is in the one-on-one space, right? So if it's bringing more attention back there, I think a lot of people are going to get tired of farm animals being a collection, and they're going to go back to true, like undevoted art. So stuff like Proteon's animated PFP that's coming out, to me, that's a really good call that I think is going to pay out dividends, but that's not financial advice. I just think it's really cool.
I guess one of the positive things about like having such a lull in the market, it does really highlight creators that might have been overlooked during the bull market, because during the bull market, everybody's in search of that new thing, and there's no downtime for people to actually like pay attention to these emerging artists. And like, hopefully, like now that a lot of these people have been discovered and the one-on-one space is being paid more attention to, this will carry over, this momentum that they have will carry over into the bull market for their work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's about all I have on one-on-one right there. I think, you know, it's just a space you can explore. And we talked about it a little bit on the last stream, where I like to see cadence. I like to see what recent auctions have gone for, see if there's any sort of arbitrage where, you know, it's similar style art. And this one is, you know, maybe it's an auction that's ending at a weird hour for a lot of people. And you can get one very cheap compared to their other collection. Maybe that's something you scope out. There's a lot of fun market mechanics to one-on-ones that we don't see on Magic Eden, right? So it's a really fun space for me to explore. And I would encourage everybody to check it out.
Great point. Great point. I couldn't agree more, Bison. And yeah, so and I think, guys, I think September, October is going to be a fun time for NFTs.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time for NFTs. I hope so as well. I know I'll be here collecting. And hey, I know, you know, I always love to give a quick shout out at the end of the stream, maybe a quick little alpha note or anything. I actually saw a few people take my D Shui advice and are grabbing some free dust, which is really cool to see.
Love that.
But hey, guys, if my one quick alpha, not financial advice, just me talking to myself, I would think that a decent whitelist to look at right now is Erie's. They've been here for a while now, and they're looking for a Halloween drop, which is going to fit perfectly with their style of art. And I think at that time in the space, I'm thinking ahead of time for myself, but I'm thinking it might be a good whitelist to try to get out. Can't even think of the word right now. What's the word, guys? Help me out here. Allocated, my man, Torian. Allocated to while you still have a month or two before marketing starts. I think that might be a decent play. But
all right.
That's my 2 cents.
Good to know.
Appreciate the alpha, man.
Yeah, Dorian, do you have any hidden alpha for us as well before we sign off here for the day?
Man, I know I've been shilling pilots and taiyo every stream since we started RareFUD Radio, but I'm just gonna hit on scrap and pilots again. I think it's one of the easiest plays in the ecosystem right now. Regardless if you don't want to mint a pilot, scrap is at pretty low right now. And I think like 35, 36 cents the last time I checked. So it's like picking up a pilot for 2 souls. So as soon as the attention shifts away from Utes, people are going to be scrambling for what's next. I think that's pilots. Tom has stated that they're closing in on their IDO now. So people being able to earn liquidity from having a pilot, being able to engage, I think that's going to be a huge aspect for a driving factor for a lot of adoption for that project. So
yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, do you guys have any other closing remarks before we go ahead and finish the show?
Man, I love hanging out with you guys. That's my closing remark.
Likewise. Always fun, guys. Well,
love this stream, guys.
Yeah. I appreciate your guys' time. I appreciate the viewers' time. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of RareFUD Radio. We will be back again, as always, Thursday, 2 p.m. You can catch us 2 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday. If you guys are watching on Twitter, make sure to head on over to YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you guys liked it. If we've helped you out at all, we are looking to just be a non-biased, no bull kind of information provider for everybody and just talk about what's going on in the market. So we appreciate you guys' time. Joe, Dorian, I appreciate your guys' time. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode, guys.